Welcome to the Average Jacks podcast, and as you can see, we're in a slightly different environment today. A bit more of a professional setup makes a difference from being in the box room, but today I'm very happy to announce that I'm joined by Harry Sutcliffe. Harry, welcome to the chaos.
This is a bit madness, isn't it?
It's a little bit mad. I know we've just been talking about it then, but literally I've done 60 of these, and being in this environment has completely changed it into something that I'm like palping.
you got the nerves going a bit.
Yeah, so here we are. I've been like looking forward to this because I've been following your journey, and I won't sort of get into it too much. I'll let you talk about it. But it's been Movember. I mean, your beard has grown back a lot quicker than mine ever could. I mean, I cheated as well. I didn't even like shave mine off. I just was like, I can't grow a mustache, so I'm gonna just shave the mustache in and be there. But Movember, what does that mean to you?
It holds a bit more of a significant place to me as of the more recent years, and we'll get into that. But like, I first discovered it because it was more of like, it was something that I seen that shone more of a light on men's mental health, just being like a bit of a safe space and kind of like, you know, being a place to open up and talk and be a bit vulnerable in a protected space. But then it also kind of covers a couple of subcategories of men's testicular cancer awareness and like men's prostate cancer awareness, which those two not as much for me personally, but I did have a couple of, I guess I could technically say, scares in the testicular cancer region a few years back, so which kind of like put a lot of stress on me, and it luckily ended up not being that. It was something else. Yeah. But it was something that I didn't see coming because I was like in my early 20s. So like just seeing the way they kind of approach it, and all of the proceeds that get raised just go 100% to the charity, and then like the research in between it. So it's like everything you raise or you do just goes straight to it.
It's solely for that.
It's solely for it. And then equally, I just thought it was pretty cool because, as you said, like I grow facial hair quite quick. It's a bit of a vanity thing, but when I was like, you know, a bit more dieted and a bit lean and with a sharp jaw, I think having a mustache, it was a bit of a look. Not many people could pull off.
C-bum.
Not many people could pull off, but I'll hang me hat on it and say that I can pull it off. You know what I mean? So
if you've got it, flaunt it is the literal thing.
Just a bit different, but I think the whole thing, the premise behind it was like the mustaches would get people to talk. So it's not a look that you see nowadays.
Not really, is it? No, unless you're like on Gold Coast in Australia or something. But
it's like you see it and it's like that's an interesting one. Wonder like what's going on there, and then it just sparks like natural conversations, really.
Yeah, because I sort of researching this and looking at your story as a whole in your section on your Movember link, you mentioned that you did participate in the background a little bit, like quietly from like the periphery. Yeah. And then, I mean, that's definitely not been the case in the last few years, is it? You've definitely cranked that up and gone balls to the wall with it. But what made that change to step forward and sort of, you know, put the name to the mustache, to pardon the pun?
I don't know, honestly. I don't really remember it being a specific event or thing, but I think it was just as I got a bit more into like me fitness and things, and like got myself a coach and was like, oh, we're gonna do a photo shoot, and just along that whole entire journey got a bit more confidence. It was just like I think I'd only been, you know, like supporting it silently for a couple of years then, and it was just like, well, if I'm putting myself out there to do this photo shoot thing, which is just purely for me, you know, what about this other thing that's not for me, but my experiences, at least at that time, I hadn't been through, you know, god-awful things, but I think a lot of lads do struggle with very similar things. And it was just like, well, if me just hopping on my phone or something and just chatting a bit of essentially shit can help alleviate someone else's mind, or like someone else can relate to that, then that was like that it did its job without needing to do a job in the first place.
The camaraderie within it.
Yeah. So it just kind of naturally happened, and then over the course of did like a couple of photo shoots, did a show, became a PT, you know, like followed like that course, if you will. It was kind of like it's almost part of it to be a bit more active on social media, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
But you just kind of have to do it, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that is a topic that I definitely wanted to almost explore, is not an irony, but with Movember, it's talking about like fitness, well-being, mental health, general health.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're both gym goers. We're into it. You mentioned your own personal journey about moving from doing these shoots to being a PT. But there is still a taboo with men around like fitness and how you look and how you should look and how you should act. And I think one of the really nice things around Movember is that it almost breaks them walls down. And you see that it's almost becomes a level playing field.
Yeah. It's absolutely anyone from any walk of life, any shape or form or anything is all coming together to do it. Like, I had my event on the weekend, which we'll probably chat about, and then obviously at the gym, Unity, the amount of lads that are in there, we're all different build, shape, sizes, strengths, and it was just like everyone's in the room for that one same thing, and it was like, it's like you said, it's even playing like field, so it's quite nice.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned there about getting on social media and being there, and what were the hesitations when you first did that?
Weirdly, I think it was one of those ones, it was a hesitation, but then it kind of ended up helping. I was like, who's going to be asked about, like, you know, I'm just some fucking lad from Skem, who's going to be asked what I've got to say or what I've got to, you know, have an opinion to or anything. So I was like, no one's going to be bothered. But then on the same side of that coin, I was like, well, who is going to be bothered? So I might as well just do it anyway, because if no one's asked, then...
Yeah, what's the issue? That's something I felt with this is, you know, people who will give you shit for it will probably be bored of giving you shit after 2 minutes and then go and give the next person some shit.
It's the normal thing. I don't know whether you'll have experienced it with this, but I did a little bit when I was starting to try and be a bit more like active on socials, and I guess you'd call it more like influencer like type stuff now, which that's by no shit, like that's not what I am or what I'm trying to be, but that's what it kind of would have looked back in the day. And I'm sure you might have got it yourself. It was like when you've got like a group of lad mates. I got absolutely ripped to shreds for it. Oh, like just brutal. But in the best way, it was all done in like, you know, good form and a laugh and that. And it's like an initial like couple of weeks worth of just getting peppered, and then we go, oh, he's actually like carrying on. He's doing pretty well. Like, you know, like
it's the acid bath, isn't it? And it almost builds that thick skin.
Yeah. But it worked, like, you know, it worked in a good way. It was all in good jest. It wasn't anything venomous with it, like.
No, and like I said, it's almost...
It's what we do, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's sort of not crossing that line. It's building you up, but not you back down. It keeps you level. You know, I definitely have mates who they've probably never watched an episode, but will fucking flog me for it.
Yeah.
And it's good in a sense, you know what I mean? Because they are sometimes trying to keep you who you are, because it's very easy to get carried away, innit?
Yeah, and like become someone else because of external factors.
Yeah, and especially that social media sort of world.
It's very fake.
I struggle with it massively, and would much rather do this than put like a 10-second reel on, but fair fucking play to the people who can do it, because you see some shit that people do and they are just fearless. Yeah, like just out there doing mad shit in public. It's
good entertainment watch, but you do watch it and go,
like your skin just sort of goes. But that's not to say that like you haven't done some like courageous things for Movember, like the challenge that you've done in the last month, like put your body through it. I mean, first thing I want to talk about is the half marathon. And it wasn't a trail half marathon.
Yeah.
Must be worse.
I don't know. I mean, everyone was saying that, but I mean, I have no experience. The last time I ran was the pandemic.
Yeah, wow.
Literally, I did a couple of 5Ks in the pandemic when that was all we were allowed to do.
Yeah.
And since then, I think back then I weighed considerably less from just every standpoint, so it was probably easier. So everyone was saying like about how hard it'll be with it being a trail, but I think it helped because it was like the parts of it where we were like road running, they floored me.
Yeah.
They absolutely battered me.
Just the joints taking a beating.
Yeah, just it was that, and it was just mind-numbingly boring. I just like, and this is coming from someone who's like, I've done the preps and I've ate all the bland food, and I've been on the stepper for however long. I was just so fucking bored. And it was like 100 meters on the road, and I was like, God, this is just shit. This.
And does it translate when you're doing something that is so repetitive? To can you tap into doing them preps and sort of channel that a bit, or is it just worlds apart?
I think there's probably a level of it where you can do, yeah, but it's like in I guess in my head with it, because it was like, I think we were joking before, where it was like I was expecting it to be god awful, and I was like, and it was just regular awful. So it was more just like the reminder of it was like, well, it's, you know, like it's not to downplay it and be like, oh, it's not special, but that's how I am in my head. It's like, it's not special. You're just going for a run.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're just going for a run with a couple of lads. The thing is, it's just because I'm no runner. You know what I mean? So it was like just kind of keeping in mind, it's like you've done harder stuff. It's like you've put your body through harder things. So like, why can't you do this? And I'll just say it because it's a fact. I'm just a stubborn ass.
Yeah.
I'm like, me missus will vouch for that. I'm stubborn. I got my shoes to run in the Friday, wore them in the gym whilst I was PTing on the Saturday to wear them in, and ran on the Sunday.
Wow.
And I didn't do any running or
But they
anything.
were rigid as fuck.
Mate, I was sound.
But
it was
fine.
fine. Yeah, it was fine. And everyone was like, oh, you can't do it. Your feet are going to be there. And I was like, well,
And you're like, fuck you, watch
honestly,
this, I'll show
like
you.
in me, I was just like, well, I'm going to.
Yeah. No, you've said it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them off and make them even more rigid,
like,
and I'm gonna prove you
now
wrong.
you've said it, I'll ditch the shoes and I'll wear 110s and you know.
Get me a pair of Crocs and do an half marathon. But how important is that mindset when you're doing
Stuff
these,
like that.
Yeah, these challenges, because, you know, I've seen sort of you do it. I think like I probably started following you at the back end of you start. Maybe you just done it last year, and then seeing this year, you pretty much let people have a lot more say in what you was doing this year.
A little bit.
When you did it last year,
I
like
just picked me things.
yeah. So how did that come about? Because did you worry about relinquishing that control?
What, last year's
For
on
this
with
one,
the change?
for like, because you could have got
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Because it was more just like, I was like, the gym were happy to be more involved, and that's not to say they weren't happy last year.
Yeah.
It was just a bit more last minute and very poor planning on my side last year. But I think with everything that went on, I was just like, right, well, you know, just chuck it together and do it. And it worked out well. But then this time round, it was like, well, if they're happy to be involved, they have a much bigger platform.
Yeah.
It was like, right, well, how can we try and get the gym itself? Because Vault's got like quite a big community. So it was like, and everyone there is pretty good. We all like look after each other, which is cliche as it sounds, is quite true. So it was just like, well, if we make it known what we're doing, and then we can allow some people to throw some ideas, and it's like, you know, we can't do them all. Like someone threw an idea of like, I think it was like you drink a beer or do a shot and then run a mile. I was like, yeah, that's sound that, but like that's just not. I'm not gonna be able to do that. You know what I mean?
It's not
like,
sustainable.
yeah, like the lads are letting me use the gym. You know what I mean? I don't think they'll appreciate
Don't
me
pissed up
spewing.
on Stairmaster.
So it was like you'd get some funny ones every now and then, which it was just like, oh, haha. But then you'd get a couple. And it was just different thought processes as well, where it was like just a different approach on it. Because like I'm a bit simple in some of the stuff I do, and I'll just be like, oh, just, you know, like someone else might have a better idea or a better
Nice to
take
get that
on it.
variety of something different.
It's like you get people that are doing, you know, your high rocks, your CrossFit, your powerlifting, your whatever. So it's all different walks of the same thing that we do. But they can go, oh, well, I have that take on it. So it took a bit of pressure off me to not have to think of everything. And then it was just nice to get other people involved. But like there was a little bit of me that was like, oh, some of these might be really fucking awful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And was there any that you were sort of, if this comes up, that's the worst one that I can think of? Did you have like, was you preempting any that were going to be like dog shit for you?
I was expecting like a lot of running ones.
Yeah.
Because people not like, because genuinely it's just like, it's a known thing. I'm just not, I'm not the cardio guy, you know what I mean? It's just not me. So I was expecting a lot of that or a lot of high rocks based stuff, because I do have the respect for it, but it's just the thing where it's like you just take the piss, don't you?
It's chalk and
like,
cheese, isn't it? If it's not your wheelhouse, you're like,
I'm going to give you a bit of grief over it, and you'll give me a bit of grief over what I do, and that's fine. So I was expecting a lot of stuff around that, and there were bits, but none of them. There was one that I read and I was like, oh, that looks a bit grim. And it was one we ended up having to sub out. It was one of the girls that comes to me class. I always finish the classes with like a bit of conditioning work. And it's never brutal, but sometimes it is hard work.
Yeah.
And she just put together this like 5 rounds of just fucking hell.
She's like, you've done this to me now for months. I'm
Yeah,
fucking
and I was reading it and I was just like, I had that cup. You know, I was like, I can't even be angry at that. Like,
just karma has come back around.
I was like,
yeah.
Fuck.
So with the events, so how many different challenges did you do this November?
On the event or just throughout?
Just throughout.
Throughout, I think it'll have been, counting the challenges on the main 24-hour thing, it'll have been like around maybe 20 or something like that, I guess.
Mad.
20 to 22. It was weird because like last year I did the sled, so I did the sled pushes.
Yeah.
60 kilos on the sled for 60 lengths every day of the month, which it's not that crazy, but it's a lot at the same time because it's like the weight and the sled weren't that bad.
Yeah.
But doing it every month,
The compounding
every day was just like, it ended up being a lot. Because I was doing something every day, I felt like I was doing loads. Versus this time round, like we put a men's Pilates class on in the gym like throughout the month. So I was like, right, I'll go to each of them, or at least the ones that I think I made. There's 5 on. I think I made 3, and I couldn't make the other 2 because they're clients. So I was like, right, well, I'll do that. Did some other like different style training and stuff that I don't usually do, just to kind of, you know, push out there. Did the run and then did the 24-hour thing, and then also gave a hand at Unity. So it was like 5 bigger condensed things. So it wasn't something every day, but the individual challenges themselves were a lot bigger. But I struggled a little bit with juggling it a little bit in my head. So I did revisit the sled one week. I think I did like a mixture of the sled challenge I did last year and like farmers carries and stuff like that, just because I felt like I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel a bit weird here.
Which is something that I wanted to ask you, is the pressure around putting a bounty on your head is sort of the wrong terminology, but you know what I mean? You're like, at the beginning of the month saying, right, fucking, I'm doing this, here I am, let's fucking have it. Yeah. But I imagine what people don't consider in that as well is that you have a business that runs, you have an everyday life. Yeah. Juggling that as well, what was the hardest bit of navigating that for like your personal life to running the event and the challenge per se?
It was more like I guess it was like the pressure I put on myself with it. And it was more like the comparison to last year. I was like, oh, I was doing loads last year. And it's like, I wasn't. I was just doing smaller doses of stuff every day. But I just built up like a pressure in my own head because I was like, oh, I was a lot more active last year. I was further ahead in the fundraising because I was on it every day. And stuff like that. But then that was something that people were reminding me of this year. They were like, well, yeah, but you can't do all of what you did last year and these other big things and live your life and fucking run a business. And because like I'd have been in a fucking wheelchair.
Well, it'd have been hypocritical to like the main message of the fucking thing as well, wasn't it? Because it's like, oh, we're taking care of men's mental health, but here I am, just binning myself day after day. And how important is it to, because just this brief conversation that we've had, you know, like this is the first time we've probably talked in depth proper to each other. Yeah. I can immediately tell you've got this competitive edge, this you've got standards that you hold yourself to. A little bit. How hard is it not to just be like, right, we are going a million miles an hour? Yeah.
It was. I think that's what I was struggling with, like I say, because I was like, oh, I need to do more. And already, like, we've just wrapped this year's up, and in my head, I was like joking with you before. I was like, wait, how am I going to outdo this year, next year? Because this year was pretty fucking big. Yeah. So what we're going to do next year? And it's like, it's a good thing, but a bad thing at the same time. 'Cause it's like, it doesn't always need to be that, but it kind of is. Like it's kind of always going to be in it.
It has to be eye-catching, doesn't it? I suppose. Like, I can't remember, I was seeing someone talking about it. When you do these fundraising events, once you've done one, you're in that mindset of how do we top it?
It needs to be, the next one needs to be a little bit more each time to then, you can't just expect people to be like, oh, he's doing that same thing he done last year. I mean, that'd be fine, and I think a lot of people do that. But in my head, I'm like, people would just be like, fuck off, you did that last year. Yeah. I donated then.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it now.
I'm not going to do it again. You've not done anything different.
When you put it in that perspective, like it makes perfect sense as to why you'd think like that, because it's obviously such a personal and like close thing to you. Like you want to keep adding to it and, you know, making it this big thing that people care about. And when you're doing it, do you often find yourself like reflecting about like your habits, your mindset, and is it a good time for reflection, or are you just so focused on getting the job done?
It probably would be a good time for reflection, but I'm not the best at that.
No.
It's probably something I need to work on a bit.
Yeah.
So like it's something I could probably take from it and then maybe reflect later down the line on what I've done. But during the time of doing it and whatever, it was more just like
all consuming.
Yeah, like got a job to do here, but it's like this is what needs to be done. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Because you'll have like other people be like, oh, you've done amazing, you've done this, you've done that, and it's hard to take it in. Where it's like, yeah, well, I'm not done yet, so like, I'll take that when it's finished. You know what I mean?
And I suppose it's so important, not trying to put words in your mouth, but to reflect on something of this magnitude and be like, fuck, that is just not even the feats of, you know, the endurance and the challenges themselves, but to just dedicate that amount of time to doing something for a cause. Because something that I was thinking when I was researching it and looking into it was, and this might be an absolute bollocks question, but do you feel like you almost have a mask that you put on as like Harry the Movember, like charity raiser, and then you get home and you're like, fuck, I'm me again now.
Ish, a little bit, I guess, because it's like, I mean, the 24-hour thing was a good take on it, because it's like, I think it's easy to, if there's a camera on, to kind of, you know, pump yourself up a bit and be a bit more like giddy for the camera and that. So we got like a little bit of filming at the start, and then at the end when we were done, and I was fucked. There's no hiding that I was fucked. So it was like I was pretty much me throughout it. Yeah. Because it was just, you couldn't keep up the. If it was an act, I wouldn't have been able to keep up the act for the duration of it. But yeah, probably, because it is just a bit more like, I don't know, it's maybe more like a flicking the switch on and off.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, not like an act, but it's sort of,
it's more like,
you have to put a different hat on to be in the mindset and sort of detach.
Yeah, it's like, right, it's, you know, it should be, again, something reflect on it. It should be something that's more pushed across the course of the year, and I try and do divots of doing that. But in my head, I know where it's like, right, November's coming up. Like, right, get your head in the game for Movember. Get ready for that. Get prepped for that. So it is a bit of a like gearing up for that, and then it's like, right, it's here, bang, go. Like this is going to be the thing for the month. You know
Off the leash.
Yeah. So like,
is there any anxiety prior to November for you? Do you sort of, you know, last few weeks you think, fuck, it's here.
Yeah,
it's here and there's no escaping it.
Yeah, a little bit. There was a bit more this year in my head when I knew I was doing the 24-hour challenge. I was like, oh, you know, spitballing different things. I said that, and people were like, hey, that's a good idea, that. So I checked with like Ali and Pete, and they were like, yeah, we're happy for you to do it. Go for it. And then we set the date as like the end of the month. So it was like, right, we're finishing the month on a bang with that. Start of the, like 1st of November, I was like, got ages.
Loads of time.
It's boss this, it's that. Pushing it loads, get loads of ideas in, you know, like fucking put me in the bin. And then when it was like a week away, I was like, shit, I've got to do all this next week now.
The accountability of it. Yeah. So the 24-hour challenge, for those who, you know, may have not cottoned on to what you've done, just give us a summary of that carnage, what you went through.
So I can't remember specifically things, but essentially I got into the gym on the Saturday. I got into the gym about 6 a.m. on the Saturday, and my first challenge was about just after 7 on the Sunday, on the Saturday. So we started with the first challenge, and then it ended up being anything between, I would say anything between 16 to 19 different physical / mental challenges. They were all physical in the sense of doing stuff, but then as it got, you know, like progressively through the night, they became more mentally taxing as well. I wouldn't even say they were like progressively harder, like they were, But again, like, that was like as the fatigue was
it wasn't planned that way. It
Yeah,
was just
not
naturally
necessarily.
through.
I'd tried to be strategic in spreading some of them out. But like looking back, I probably could have been more strategic and putting much fucking harder ones well earlier, you know what I mean? So I wasn't as in the bin. But yeah, basically it was just spent 24 hours at the gym doing, it almost worked out at like, not quite every hour on the hour, because people were saying like, oh, is that what you're doing? And I was like, well, no, because I need to eat and at least recover a little bit.
You're not
you know
a
what I mean?
robot.
Yeah. I was like, I'll give it a fucking go, like, but I'm, you know, like, I'll be in the bin quick. So we did that, and then I was Owen, one of our other PTs, Jenko, as he's more known as. He stayed with me obviously overnight, so he did do a good amount of stuff with me. Didn't quite do everything, but then the things he couldn't join in on, he was like overseeing. So like one of the challenges was like a high rocks sim, if you will, but it was just like the stations. So I was like, you know, if I'm gonna have someone with me to run me through the stations on that, who better than him? But it was at like fucking 2:30 in the morning, you know. It was like just
in the trenches.
When you don't want to do anything. So yeah, it was essentially that, and then it was just like running that through all the way through with like zero sleep and just, like I say, just like physical and mental challenges, running it through. And then it spilled on into another one off the day after. So once it was like 7 o'clock the next day, wrapped up the final challenge, did a very quick like outro with Jack and filmed it, and then went across literally down the road to Unity and ran into you. And they were doing their own bit. So it was like, that wasn't part of the 24, but it kind of felt like it, because it was within.
It was similar last year, and you naturally sort of segued into the Unity.
It made sense to. They're a good bunch there, and like Rick does, as far as I'm aware, they do something for Movember every year. So I did my first one with them last year, and I just said, I was like, well, whenever you do it during the course of the month, whatever it is, I'll give it a go. You know what I mean?
Because that's the point of it, isn't it? Is bringing like the walls down, and rightly or wrongly getting the lads together, because there's still this preconception, and I think especially around gym culture and like that, is that they're almost, you scratch beneath the surface and we're all like pally, huggy, we're all like, we want to get involved in it, but there's almost still this facade that people think that they need to put up. And that's what I love about them events, and like being at Unity, and like you said, when I was doing it on Sunday, the more million is that you end up being with people you probably would have never
had a
conversation with, and then you're like out running a 5k with them or a 12k with them, and you think, this is boss, this is what it's about.
Yeah, it's good. Like, it's like during the later part of it was one of my stints of an hour on the stepper, which it doesn't sound all that, but when you end up doing I think it was like a total of 3 or 4 hours split across the thing on the stepper, it's just fucking grim. But like, there were like lads who I'd seen in the gym, because I'm there all the time, but I didn't know, but they'd just come up and be like, hey, there's fucking sick this, you're doing well. And it's just like, it was bringing people together in a different way, and
it's such a spike of motivation, I imagine.
It's nice. You don't do it for that, but then when someone comes up and just gives you like a little tap and like, hey, you fucking killing it, mate, this is boss, it's like, sick.
That's what you don't realise you need it until you get it. So definitely. Like, do you believe sport and fitness and physical activity play a massive factor in mental health, especially for men?
Yeah, huge. They do for me, at least, definitely. And I'd say probably any client that I've had the pleasure of working with, male or female, but like, it's definitely a key factor in regards to like probably improving on, but then maybe just at least maintenance of wherever you're at mentally. So like, for me, for the longest time, the gym was always like a crutch, just for like keeping me afloat. And it was like, you see a lot of people being like, oh, the gym's me therapy, and it used to, like, you used to hear it and be like, oh, it's a bit cringy, that, but then you get into it and you kind of get it, and it's like, oh yeah, kind of like lifting these fucking heavy circles is actually making my head feel a bit better.
It's like a pressure, I always say like the analogy of a pressure cooker, and that if I don't go to the gym or I don't have some sort of output,
Eventually,
that the
it's-
fucking
Oh, yeah.
the lid is like
Yeah,
binging and binging, and the gauge is like shaking.
We're all the same, because it's like when you pick up an injury, it's like it's the end of the world,
Yeah.
because in your head you're like, I've got to take time off the gym, and then it's like, fuck, if I take the time off the gym, what, like, my head's gonna start.
Yeah,
Cause
it becomes an identity
I'm not
crisis.
busy. Yeah. It's like you can quiet your mind in the gym, but then when you can't, and it's taken away from you. If you take a week off, it's different, because you're like, oh, I'm stepping away, and it's your choice. When it's not your choice, that's when it then becomes a bit of a like.
Like, your choices. I'm taking the foot off the gas. I've done all this, but like, it's not a case of you couldn't jump in tomorrow if you wanted to.
Yeah. But no, I think it's massive. I think it's just down to like routine, isn't it? It's like having something to consistently be getting up and just doing, and it's not even about the gym's like progress isn't linear in it, you know what I mean? It's not like it don't go like that.
No, not
There's
at
a
all.
period where it does, and then it flattens out.
Yeah.
And then people tend to flap at that point, and it's like, no, that's where at that point, that's where a lot of your character, not your character building, but for lack of a better term.
I always say it's like the seesaw between motivation and discipline.
Yeah.
And you'll find that when you're on that upward trajectory, there's a lot of motivation, because you're seeing the progress. But once you hit that plateau, that's when the discipline comes in, because you're like, right, well, I might not be seeing it, but
it's going to come.
It's going to come, but if I'm not there, it won't. It can't come.
Yeah.
So I always think that it's interesting to hear that. And how long have you been a PT now?
Since last February. Like last February, March. So when Vault 2.0, like that's what they were calling it then, but since the new Vault opened.
Yeah.
So not, in the grand scheme of things, not that long actually.
Yeah.
Like a year and a bit.
How's that transition been? Like becoming a PT?
Yeah, real. Like it's, everyone always asks. It's like it's the best thing I've done. Like I've not. Don't get me wrong, I have my doubts, like still, and I think that's probably just something with doing it that you'll naturally, anyone that's in that boat of being self-employed or going from contracted full-time employment to something else, I imagine that'll always be with me, like 10 years down the line doing it. I'll probably worry about not having enough clients and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was scary, like, but it was the best thing. It's the best thing that I've done, basically. Like, it was, I can sit confidently and be like, it was the right call. You know what I mean? And I was very, not on the fence with it, but I kind of knew I wanted to do something different. So my background, if you will, I worked in stroke therapy it was rehab and then into stroke therapy for about 9 years, just shy of 10 years in the NHS. And that's kind of all I knew. And then eventually it got to a point where I was like, I was maybe going to go and do physio, and I was like, I don't really, it's not, it's something about it, it's just
didn't
making me
align
hesitant.
with you.
Yeah, it was just like making me hesitant, so I knew I wanted to do something different, but I didn't know what. And as daft as this sounds, it was kind of one of those things where it was like, well, I like the gym.
Yeah.
And like, I had a couple of people being like, at that point, message me, and they were like, it was during the stint of like my first or second photo shoot prep, so I was in good nick, and it was like, oh, well, I'd advised people, like a couple of people on things and friends, and they'd listened and it had worked, and they were like, oh, thanks, you've like had a massive positive impact. And I was like, oh, that felt pretty good. That I wonder if I could do something like that for a job. So I've like got the qual, fast forward, the new gym opened and that was just like, it was like a perfect opportunity. It was like, something's looking you right in the face and you go, I'd be a dickhead to not
sink or
jump
swim
on that. Yeah. So like, did it, and looking back, I think obviously it was probably during the chaos of everything that was going on, it makes sense that how I made it work. But I was working in the NHS part-time, PTing, was doing online coaching alongside of that, but I was never busy with that, but that was like a third thing. So doing the two of them together, so I'd get up for fucking 4 or 5 in the morning, get to the gym for 6, do 1 client, maybe 2, get changed, shoot to work a full shift at the NHS, at the hospital, shoot back to the gym, do 2 PTs, go straight into a class, and then do another PT.
Mad.
And I just did that like every day for fucking like 6 months. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, I'm burning out a little bit. And it was like, I'd got myself busy enough that I had a client base that if I was full, like I didn't have any more availability because I was only part-time technically, but I was kind of PTing with full-time clients, like
burning the candle
activity,
at both ends.
which was good. So it got to a point where it was like, right, well, now you need to make a decision on either pulling the plug and going, right, give it a proper go, because then if it fails, but you've at least given a proper go, then that's fine. But doing this where I was working both, like I was fucked.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, something had to give in the end. So I sat on it I didn't sit on it for a little bit, but you mull it over in your head, don't you?
It's a massive call, isn't it?
Yeah,
You've got guaranteed income, you've got like holiday pay, your career, you've been in it for 10 years, and then
it's kind of all you know.
Yeah,
and then it was
you have that. I imagine you have that self-doubt. I mean, it's pretty similar for this. I mean, maybe one day I'll be in a position where I can make a decision like that around it, but you almost think that, is it a whim? Am I doing this on a whim? And then have that like fucking ballsy moment. What's it like handing your notice in? This is a question that I'd love to like pick into. If it'd be like, I'm off.
It was nerve-wracking. It was like I experienced like every emotion with it because I left. A big thing with me was like I wanted to leave before I hated it.
Yeah.
Because I loved the job. Yeah. It was so good, and like learned so many life skills and met so many like different people, and just everything that I took from it was brilliant. But it was getting to a point where I was like, this is starting to take away from me a bit now.
The light's
I'm not
dimming on
enjoying it much.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave on like a sour note, so it was like a bittersweet. Like everyone knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. And then when I eventually got to the point where it was like, right, bang. It was just. It wasn't a shame, but everyone was happy to see me go, but sad to see me leave because they were like, you're obviously leaving because you've got busy enough to do that, which we're all made up to see, but it was sad to leave the team.
Which is probably the nicest way to go, innit?
It'd probably be cool on one side if it was like, fucking hated the job. There you go,
fucking
you prick,
hand grenade.
You know what I mean? But it was more bittersweet because it was kind of like, I've actually got to that place that I said I was going to get to, and I didn't necessarily think you'd get there with it. It was kind of like, you know, he's going to hand his notice in to do this other thing eventually. Yeah. But is he really? And then when I did, it was like, oh, fuck.
And from knowing from what you've said, I imagine that was an internal motivator to be like, I'll fucking show you.
Yeah. It was like more like stubbornness on myself then as well. Like I was filled with that much doubt. It was like, well, you can't say you've tried it until you go full time and try it. So go full time and try it, and then if it doesn't work out, you can at least be like, you've properly tried it. Then
100%.
You know what I mean? I don't mind if it doesn't work out, but you've give it a proper crack of the whip, like
not half-arsing it.
Yeah.
You mentioned before about like the first time that someone messaged you for advice.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, do you remember it?
Weird. Yeah, it was a lad called Dean. I won't mention his last name in case he like has an issue with it. But I went to college with him. He was like in college. He was a lad that I like. He looked up to, but he were older. And he was way more mature and everything like that. I think he just went through a bit of a rough patch and gained a little bit of weight in that. And he'd seen me do my first shoot, and I was doing the second one. And then again, it was partly just me being a bit more active on social media and Instagram and stuff like that. And he was like, I've been following it for a bit, this, that, and the other. And he was like, just asking more general questions. And then it's like, would you mind just putting something together? And I was like, I'll have a go, but I'm not a coach or a PT. But like, like it's cool that you've come through for a bit of advice. Done that, and it was just like, right, like he was like, right, I'll crack on with it. And then like a couple months later, come back, and it was like, like all of what you said like really helped. And I was just like, that's pretty cool, that, you know what I mean?
Because I imagine, like you mentioned about, doing your shoot, being slightly more on social media. I imagine that alleviated any sort of doubt about doing that when you got the reassurance from being like, well, if, like you said before, if me doing this can help one person.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was just like, like I say, it was just like, I'm just some random lad from Scam, you know what I mean? I'm fucking...
But you can help someone. How amazing is that, and like important? And I imagine, does that still come into your mind now when you're on social media and you're doing these things? How do you balance that, almost raising awareness but still putting yourself out there?
It's a tricky one with that, because I've always said with anything that I put up that's not like it's not PT, where it's like the typical like motivational posts and information, blah de blah, because that's the side of it that I just don't really enjoy.
Yeah.
When I put stuff up that's more around my head or experience and stuff like that, I kind of put it up in a selfish way, but I know it's going to help indirectly, but I'm putting it up for me. Because like if I'm putting something up where I'm just like, it's not advice on mental health, or it's got that undertone to it, I'm putting that up for me.
Yeah.
And as
almost like a journaling principle.
Yeah, it's like like probably a good way of thinking. It's like it's journaling, and I'm like, I'm doing it for myself, and I'm just like, I can whack that up, and then in theory, no one could see that.
Yeah.
So if someone does and it helps, winner. Because in theory, it could go up and it could get fucking ignored by everyone.
Bypassed.
So if it does, fine. But if it doesn't, and it's not about likes and stuff like that, it's like, I get that the algorithm and whatever. But if whatever is in that, or if me talking about an experience just resonates with someone, and it then makes them feel comfortable to either chat to me or chat to someone else, then it's done a job I didn't intend for it to do.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it might, but I knew it could also do nothing.
Yeah.
And if it did nothing, then it's done a little bit for me, because it's just, it's me journaling.
It's one of them. It's almost a selfless thing, isn't it? And like you said, I think in today's society, we look at stuff when people put things on social media, we can almost think like, oh, why have they done that? But then, when you remove them preconceptions and maybe rose-tinted glasses, and you look at it from a perspective that this post might resonate with one person that nothing has ever resonated with them before, and be the catalyst to be the driver to change, then fucking why not flood it? Do you know what I mean?
That it's done a purpose, it's done a job it was never intended to do, and that's a massive win.
Is it almost cathartic when you do it? When you post?
It can be. It's probably more chaotic, if anything, to be honest.
Just some sort of outlet.
Yeah, sometimes. Like, I'll go through stints of being a bit more active and regularly posting or being active on stories, and then I'll go through stints of just putting nothing up. Because it's one of those ones where, like, advice is like, people are like, oh, the social media side of it should be part of your job, and I get it. It should be, because it's good for building your business, or if you're a brand or whatever. But I just get a bit burnt out with it as well sometimes. So like I try and have it a bit more naturally flowing, and I'm like, if I'm in a bit of a thing where I'm thinking, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, like I've got some ideas in my head, or like I've recently gone through something, and I'll pull my notes up and just start typing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'll just bang, pick a picture, up it goes.
Yeah.
But like, I might not then post again for another month.
Yeah, because I don't know if you feel this way, but just listening to you explain that, I resonate with it, and it's got me thinking. And I'm the same. I'm probably guilty of letting my social media page for this just become a fucking Reels highlight.
Yeah.
And not posting. It sounds weird, and it sounds almost like egotistical, but not posting enough about me. But sometimes when I get to that point and I've made the post and I'm there and I'm sat there and I'm just going to press post, I'm like, do people care? But then I'm also like, how much do I want to give? Do you know what I mean? Like, do I want to keep
out there?
Do I want to keep something back? I don't want to be like the other end of that spectrum where
your entire
life, all your dirty laundry's on there, everything like that. And is that another thing you think of when you're on there? You want to keep something back for you?
Yeah and no. So like that's probably something I struggle with a bit, where it's like, I tend to look at it like we've been saying, where it's like, regardless of whatever it is, if I think it might somehow help someone, or it's gonna make me just feel a bit better, it's like, it's not therapy, but like I say, like it's like journaling sometimes. So it's just getting it out. If I just need to get it out and do that, then I will. But I've had like chats with people, and sometimes people are like, you put in an awful lot. You're exposing a lot, and you're telling strangers loads of things that you might not have told close family members, your missus, your partner, whatever.
It's almost easier sometimes.
Yeah, you kind of beat me to it there, where it's like, it's tricky, because it's like, we all don't want to be judged, and it's, like everyone does our best to not judge one another, but it's almost easier to write a bit of a blurb, and is a bit of a truth bomb, for lack of a better term, and drop it to a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, a faceless avatar rather than someone
Yeah, because the person who you know is they're not gonna judge you, but there'll be something that comes with it where they'll feel a certain kind of way. They'll feel sorry for you. They'll feel upset. They'll want to help you, and sometimes it's like, no, I don't
That's
need,
not what I want.
I don't want that. I just need to get it out.
Yeah.
But then if I burden you with that issue, I'm then going to worry about you.
Yeah.
So it's easier to then go.
And then it's there, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once it's there, it's always there. But with these, when you, like, 'cause I've done it, I've put things on social media and maybe not exposed, that's probably the wrong terminology, but put things out there that you wouldn't normally think you would associate with doing that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's there, and then, like you said, it might never be seen, and some faceless person might see it, but they're never going to bring it up to you next time you go down to the pub with them, or you know, you go out with some food and they go, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck, this is the last thing I actually want to talk about now, because I just want to get it off my chest.
It's either that or, like, any experience I've had with it, anyone that's then brought it up to me afterwards, it's been a positive thing.
Yeah.
It's been like, oh, you know what, that post you put up the other day, like, it just resonated me in some kind of way. It was a nice read, and I'm not someone who's dead poetic with words, you know what I mean? But it's like, it just, like I say, it just had like a bit of a positive impact without it needing to be. So it's never like, what you putting that up for? You're not bad, or you know, anything like that, because it's not anything like that I tend to put up. But yeah.
Almost the fear more than the actual, like, capitalisation of it. Do you find it's people who you least expect come up to you and say, oh, that was boss?
Sometimes, yeah. Like, I've had a couple of lads in the gym, more like if I've put stuff up, I put a lot of stuff up, like, for me dad, you know what I mean? So, like, occasionally I'll get, like, lads in the gym that are, like, a bit older, like, even in, like, the mid-40s, getting to the 50s, and it's like, didn't even know you had me on social media, and they'll read it and be like, oh, you know, like, that was lovely, that has. And like, that just, like, I don't know, it just done something with them in a positive way, and I'm like, oh, fucking, like, you're the least, like you say, the least person I expected to come up and say, like, I appreciated the post, like, in a way, which is weird.
But that positive coming out of that situation, it almost, you know, helps, I imagine, having that, like, people come and be like, thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Because then equally it can open up, and again, it's like keeping that trend of what the Movember stuff is, if you will. It opens up a gate to then be like, they might turn around and be like, oh, well, I actually, what you mentioned in that post, I struggled with that when I was a kid with my dad, or his fucking dad, or my brother, or whatever. So it opens a lot of gateways in a different way, you know what I mean? So,
and it's that pressure valve again, isn't it, of just, you know, you don't know how important that micro conversation with someone just saying, oh, I've experienced that as well, can alleviate for them. And men are, you know, it is a cliche, but we are bad at talking.
Absolutely. But it opens it up to just be like, you'll have a brief conversation with someone, and then it's just a very quick matter of being like, by the way, if, like, I'm here if you need a little chat, like, I'm in the gym 24/7 basically, so if you want 5, just grab me. And they'll likely go, like, vice versa, and it's just like that acknowledgement of like, right, well, you know, like, if you're struggling, I'm here.
It's that head nod, innit?
I don't
just
mind. Yeah, it's like, you
agree.
Like, you see someone every now and then, it's just like, it's that nod of like, you right?
Yeah.
Like, you good? Yeah, okay.
And do you find that something that happens more since you've been more open on social media, that people find you more approachable, maybe?
Probably, yeah. I think it's that, and then maybe just being as, it's been more like with PT, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Just like, you're almost like, well, you'll know, you're almost like people's fucking therapist sometimes.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And like, you can work through loads of issues with someone in a session without even realising it, whilst you're training them, you know what I mean?
You're getting that double-edged sword, aren't you?
But then I do think a lot of the time, it's like, I think, especially when it comes to mental health, don't get me wrong, you can go out and get a certificate to say, I'm qualified to speak about mental health, but like, whichever.
Yeah.
Boss, if you've been through stuff, like, and actually experienced stuff, and like, doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world, but if you've experienced stuff that will have an impact on your mental health, you in my eyes, are more qualified to talk about it.
Lived experience.
You have the experience, and then it's that shared experience, or that having something in common with someone, you know, under that umbrella of being like, oh, well, you've gone through that, I've gone through this, it's not the same thing, but I felt this from that, and what you've just said is something similar to what I felt. So let's talk about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's brilliant, and I think we need to do it more and without sounding like, you know, like ippy-dippy bollocks and that, but again, like, cliches are often cliches because they're true, but it's so refreshing and like motivating, and it makes you want to talk when you see other people talking about it, and like, so hopefully someone listens to this conversation and thinks, actually, I should just ring my mate up and be like, how are you doing? You know, you've been having, regardless of how shit your time is, and I always say this, the worst thing you've been through is the worst thing you've been through. Just because you might know someone who has a situation that seems worse than yours, that doesn't negate your problems. It doesn't mean you bottle that up and not look for an outsource, you know what I mean? And I think that is something that being a PT myself has taught me, because even when you're speaking to people about their problems, you end up mulling over your problems. And you're like, fucking hell, if I just gave myself the advice that I would give to a client or a friend, how much more efficient or happier
some of the advice you might give to clients sometimes, and like you'll come out of it sometimes be like, oh, like, nice one for that, and in the end I'm like, I don't know where the fuck that came from.
You're like perplexed by your wisdom.
I didn't know I could fucking do that. That sounded like it made a lot of sense.
I get it completely. You're like, fucking hell, am I a stoic? Like, what is going on? But I think this segues into a question that I had, is that, you know, if there was one message you'd like to give to another man listening to this about Movember and get involved with it, what would it be?
Ooh, I have to think about that for a sec. You know, it's a good question, to be honest. As in, just to get involved, like just in like, general.
What would get them? Like, if you could say something like to get them to get involved, or just think about it more.
They'd be you'd be surprised that I'm not brilliant at words, but like the shared commonality, or like the shared experience of a lot of blokes struggle, like I say, with the same things. Or even if it's not the same things, it's big issues, and you'll see someone will tell you a story and you're like, well, fucking hell, they're still here, and they're doing all right, and they're being brave enough to talk about it. So if they've done that, and they've helped all these other people, why can't I? It's maybe to not, like you say, like not downplay your own, not experiences, but like your own. I don't like using the word trauma, because I think it's butchered nowadays.
It's diluted.
Yeah, everyone, like, you've had a bad Tuesday, it's a traumatic day. It's not. It's just a fucking bad Tuesday. You know what I mean? But you don't have to downplay your own traumas and issues. If anything, bringing them to the surface and speaking about them can alleviate them a little bit for yourself. It can allow a little bit of pressure relief, and it can open the format to then others to give advice and receive. Don't realise how big the contribution could be. Yeah, as small as just like chatting. The impact that. And it's like I'd seen some stats about it, because obviously in November there's a lot of stats going around where it's like, one thing I said a little while ago, and it was a bit of a like against the advice. A lot of the advice is to talk. Talking does help, but I think it's understanding that sometimes it doesn't. But it's all right. Like, and that's fine. Sometimes you'll talk and you won't feel any better for it. If anything, you'll feel worse, because you'll get upset, you'll have a cry, or whatever. Like, that's fine. Take your 5 minutes, take your 10 minutes, take your day, take whatever you need to take, and then come back off the back of it and go again, and that's fine. Like, talking does help, kind of in the background without you realising it. It's not like you're talking and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm cured, I don't feel that kind of way anymore. It's not one-fits-all solution. No, that's not the thing. It's like, it's, what's the word for it? Fucking hell. It's not a cure. It's a
Yeah.
treatment.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
makes sense.
like in a way. But yeah.
So before we wrap it up, there's always 2 questions that I ask guests on the podcast when they come on. So what are 3 habits that you'd recommend to the everyday person and why? If it could improve their life, it doesn't have to be gym related, it can be everyday life related.
Try and find something that you like.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be anything fucking specific. Doesn't have to be anything bougie. Could be the most maddest thing in the world, and just fucking do it.
Yeah.
And like do it wholeheartedly. Don't feel the need to fucking defend it or like justify it. If it brings you a bit of peace and a bit of joy, fucking run with it until you can't run with it anymore.
Yeah, I love it.
As cliche as it is, it's like build a routine.
Yeah.
The PT in me, like try and build some form of routine with things, because it just helps from a structure standpoint. I think our heads like knowing what's coming. It's like maybe the previous bodybuilder in me, and from what like having that structure of I'm going to eat at this time, I'm going to go work at this time, I'm going to finish at this time, I'm going to train at this time, I'm going to do that. It just everything like has like a flow state to it, so it works really, really well.
Third one always gets people.
Third one, I'm trying to think of like, not something different, but it's just...
You don't have to have 3, because the next question might inspire some idea, but the last question is always, if there was a habit and a routine that you'd like to reintroduce to your life, or introduce, what would that habit or routine be and why?
You know what? Probably just because we spoke about it earlier, like taking the time to try and reflect on everything. Yeah. Positive things that I've done or been through, the negative things that I've done or been through, and just try and actually sit and take the time to reflect on them and try and pull what I can out of them and then implement that going forward, because I probably don't take nearly enough time for myself. I keep myself very busy. And I think it's off the back of, losing my dad the way we did and everything like that. A busy mind. Yeah. Our minds like to be busy. When we quiet down, they're not happy really. No. With that kind of, that space and freedom to kind of think. So probably trying to implement that, where it's like actually taking a bit of time for myself and mulling over things. Yeah,
processing.
Yeah,
things.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or at least attempting to a bit more.
Yeah. And has that inspired a number 3?
Maybe some form of journaling.
Yeah.
Again, I don't do it, so it sounds hypocritical to say.
You do a little bit,
but
maybe not the conventional type in which you'd assume. You've not got like a diary by the end of the bed that you do, but you have your version of it.
I imagine that if it's any way, shape or form, whether it's posting on social media, doing, I've seen it on some things for like therapists would recommend that you're vlogging. You're vlogging to, if it's like grief, like you're doing a vlog to the person that you've lost. But that would maybe come under the umbrella of that journaling. So some form of it, I think, would probably be, again, something I'd look to implement, and then maybe a bit of something someone could try and implement themselves.
Well, thank you so much for your time, mate. I've loved it. It's been great. It's been great for just like hear about it and hear sort of your experience and how you got to this point. So one, thank you for being so like open and honest with it and fucking boss what you've been doing. I mean, you've smashed it. But before you go, let people know where they can find you, where they can donate to your link, and where they can check out and get ready for next year's.
So my main one will probably be my Instagram, which is @HarryJamesPT. And all of the links, or at least the Movember link, is on my Instagram. So all the links are on there. Anything I do, basically, you'll find that as the point of contact. As of the moment, November's wrapped up, but the target was £1,000, and we ended up raising just shy of £2,200, and that's as of today, and we're still getting a couple of donations in. So yeah, that's where you can find me, and that's where you can find the links. And thank you very much. Perfect. So yeah, we'll put all that in the description where people can check you out. And again, thank you to the crew that have been very brilliant with us today, guiding us through this first one in a studio. They've been boss. So thank you very much to them as well.
Nice one, Matt. Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers, lad.